Good evening, I'm Ian Hanomansing. A COVID-19 lesson from the other side of the world.
We're going to have to be very vigilant.
What Australia's spike in cases teaches us in Canada. It is a long weekend for many Canadians, so are we playing by the rules or throwing caution to the wind?
I think a lot of people realize how real this thing is. Splashdown.
The SpaceX Dragon capsule successfully splashes down. Bob MacDonald tells us what it means for space travel. The big plays, the big hits, but no fans. Hockey Night in Canada's Chris Cuthbert on how that affects the final score.
I think we're learning that fans do have an impact on the game.
This is The National. An unsettling reminder this weekend of just how quickly COVID can spread and how what's happening in parts of Australia may be a sign of what's to come when winter hits here. Australia was considered a COVID-19 success story, limiting total cases to about 18,000 and deaths to just over 200, until the explosive recent outbreak in the state of Victoria. It recorded 671 cases today alone. Neighbouring New South Wales, just 12. Natalie Nanowski looks at that situation and what it could mean for Canada.
Empty grocery shelves and lines looping around the block were back as Victoria prepared for its strictest lockdown yet. The state's premier has now declared a state of disaster, including an 8 p.m. curfew.
Police will be out in force and you will be stopped and you will be asked and you will need to demonstrate that you are lawfully out and that you are not breaching that curfew.
Only one person per household is allowed to leave to pick up groceries, and they have to stay within a 5-kilometer radius of their home. A big part of the spike is now linked to quarantine hotels, which were set up by the government to isolate people for 2 weeks when entering the country. Officials say security guards were poorly trained and protocols were not strictly enforced.
And then there's the opening of restaurants and bars on the other hand. And that's when you get people together under the same roof, sharing air without masks. And of course, in Australia now, it is winter, it is flu season, and that makes it worse.
When temperatures drop, the rate of infection goes up. With our flu season only months away, there may be lessons for Canadians to prevent large outbreaks.
We're going to have to be very vigilant, and I think masks are at the very top of the list. As flu season approaches, I'm also very concerned about bars and restaurants. That is, people being together in shared space, shared air, without masks. That would be very concerning to me and something that we should consider rolling back as the weather gets colder.
A tough move for many bars and restaurants that just started letting diners back inside. One thing that Australia has done well is acted swiftly when outbreaks appear.
We cannot have a situation where this continues to grow and grow in regional Victoria.
The hope is that this 6-week lockdown and mask mandates will prevent Australia's second wave from spreading. Natalie Nanowski, CBC News, Toronto.
Some countries that hoped they'd already seen the worst of COVID-19 are now dealing with a troubling resurgence. Some, like Spain, the UK, and Japan, are contemplating bringing back more restrictions as the numbers climb. Let's take a look at COVID around the world. Latin America now closing in on 5 million cases, more than half in Brazil, which is second only to the United States in total infection. Peru, Colombia, and Argentina also hard hit. India has passed 1.7 million cases, among them the now hospitalized interior minister. Though to the relief of fans, Bollywood legend Amitabh Bachchan has recovered. South Africa now struggles with more than 500,000 recorded cases. Hundreds of medical staff have been affected at one hospital alone.
Mr. President.
The Philippines, dealing with a sharp surge, is now hiring medical workers by the thousands. And according to North Korean state media, the country has no COVID-19 cases at all. It also claims it's developed a working vaccine just in case. The global response to that is, well, as you'd expect. Here in Canada, provincial health officials are keeping a close eye on the numbers and warn about the risk of overconfidence. Susanna De Silva is here in Vancouver with a look at how people in British Columbia have been responding.
The grill is hot, the sun is shining, and there is lots of room.
Everybody's nice, spreading out.
making sure everybody is extra spaced.
Making the best of their long weekend since COVID made them readjust their plans.
We're going to go camping for a week, but we decided to do local camping instead.
Small plans and big plans all changed. Only a handful of people took to the streets to celebrate Pride in Vancouver today. Compared to the hundreds of thousands that normally gather. Instead, this year, the festivities moved online.
Pride has always been and will always be so much more than gathering together in physical space.
And after 4 months of canceled events, masks, distancing, and a province that has done relatively well with the pandemic, the worry is some may relax their efforts to stop the spread of COVID. Because one long weekend is all it can take to spark a new outbreak, as was the case with the Canada Day celebrations in Kelowna. A couple of private indoor events, and now at least 130 cases in the region and more than 1,000 people told to self-isolate.
I think there was a lot of, optimism prior to Canada Day. I think a lot of people realize how real this thing is because we've been sort of fortunate to be in a little bit of a bubble up until that point.
Businesses say the weekend has been busier than they expected, but that Provincial Health Officer Bonnie Henry's plea to young people in particular for less faces and less risky outdoor spaces, complete with an online Good Times guide for recommendations, has gotten through.
Use your influence to share a message with your friends and your connections. Don't let COVID-19 spoil our summer.
But besides some fun in the summer sun, we won't know if this long weekend will also bring a spike in cases for a couple of weeks. Susanna De Silva, CBC News, Vancouver.
In the United States, the White House Coronavirus Task Force is imploring people to take more precautions. This comes as the number of deaths nears 155,000. Over the last 6 days, more than 1,000 Americans each day were lost to COVID. And while Donald Trump loses ground at the polls over his handling of the pandemic, Paul Hunter tells us the president and his team are still struggling to stay on the same page.
In an already effectively out-of-control horror show, a warning today from the coordinator of the White House Coronavirus Task Force.
We are in a new phase.
A new phase, said Deborah Birx, and with numbers still growing, it's a sobering one.
What we're seeing today is different from March and April. It is extraordinarily widespread. It's into the rural as equal urban areas. And to everybody who lives in a rural area, you are not immune or protected from this virus.
The president, criticized for inaction throughout much of the crisis, spent some of the weekend golfing and was cheered by a small crowd as he drove home today. COVID is sure to dominate the looming presidential election, and on that, Trump faced fierce pushback on his apparent suggestion the vote ought to be delayed, citing without evidence the risk of fraud if COVID means more ballots are cast by mail. Today, a clarification.
He has not looked at delaying any election. What we will do is if we try to transform this and start mailing in ballots all across the country, all 50 states, what we will see is a delay because they're just not equipped to handle it.
This as anticipation grows for Joe Biden's decision this week on a running mate. Most predict he'll choose a black woman. Each of those on the likely shortlist underline they're ready for what's needed, including the latest to emerge as a potential Biden favorite.
If I'm on the ticket or not, I will work just as hard to get him elected because I believe he has the leadership to get us out of this crisis.
Meanwhile, word the Republican convention to nominate Trump for re-election, set for later this month in North Carolina, is being scaled back even further because of COVID. The latest? No reporters will be allowed. Paul Hunter, CBC News, Washington.
Social media site TikTok has long been a target of the U.S. president. And tonight, Microsoft says its CEO has talked to Donald Trump about buying it from Chinese owners. Trump has talked about banning the site because of concerns about security. Microsoft says it will make sure that all the private data of American users will be held in the United States. While there's no guarantee there will be a sale, Microsoft is aiming to finish talks with ByteDance by mid-September. Tropical storm Isaias whipped up big waves as its 110-kilometer-an-hour winds edged Florida's Atlantic coast. Storm warnings remain in effect for Florida and the Carolinas. What's left of Isaias is expected to arrive in Canada's eastern provinces by midweek. In California, what's being called the Apple Fire has forced 8,000 people out of their homes east of Los Angeles and scorched more than 8 square kilometers of earth. Retardant is being dumped from the air because the terrain makes it hard for trucks to reach the flames. Officials suspect an arsonist sparked this blaze.
Oh my God. Riley, go. Riley, go.
Well, here in Canada, things got a bit scary this afternoon as 3 or 4 supercell thunderstorms plowed through eastern Ontario. Tornado warnings there and in Gatineau, Quebec have now been downgraded. Environment Canada reported damage to roofs and trees and downed power lines in some small communities. Also, what seemed to be video of a tornado. Allegations of police brutality have surfaced frequently in recent months in the U.S. and in Canada. Now the RCMP has shown its own figures to CBC News, and they suggest that complaints that its officers used improper force very rarely stand up. Olivia Stefanovic looks into why.
These are just some of the recent incidents that led to allegations of improper use of force by Canada's National Police Service. The RCMP tells CBC News in 99% of complaints over the past 5 years, their officers were in the right.
The police are allowed to use a fairly high level of force, and I think that's where there's a disconnect.
The question comes down to whether an officer's actions are reasonable in the face of a perceived threat.
Very few people call the police to invite them over for a piece of cake because they won the Lotto 649. The police respond to conflict.
Some say the way police evaluate that response is a problem, and the police definition of improper use of force too narrow.
How did they decide what is improper and what is not improper?
This former police board chair says there needs to be a new definition, overseen by an outside body, independently investigating all complaints.
This task cannot be done by an internal body.
Experts say an independent body may also eliminate people's fear of filing a complaint, which could partly explain the low number.
They may worry about retaliation. They may worry that their voice won't be accepted, that their perspective will not be affirmed.
There's also calls for better training. Some officers only get a few hours each year to refresh their skills on how to act in potentially volatile situations.
That would dramatically reduce the amount of controversial use of force episodes that we're witnessing today.
He says if people want police behavior to change, then the laws will need to spell out what they're allowed to do. The public safety minister is working on updating standards to rebuild eroded trust between the public and those empowered to police them. Olivia Stefanovic, CBC News, Ottawa.
This spring, as the pandemic spread, doctors at some maternity wards began to notice something they weren't expecting or could understand: a dramatic drop in the number of preterm babies being born. As Carolyn Dunn tells us, the question remains, why?
As the world locked down to slow a pandemic, an unexpected question from neonatal intensive care units.
One of the dietitians, one of our neonatal dietitians said, "Hey Bilal, we are not seeing too many small babies anymore these days. Where did all these babies went or go?"
He knew it must be more than just a blip when the demand for donated breast milk plummeted too. Dr. Al-Sheikh discovered during the lockdown there was a nearly 40% drop in very premature babies born in Calgary. And he wasn't alone. Neonatologists around the world are reporting unexpected big drops in very early preterm births. Dr. Roy Phillip was among the first to discover and publish the trend.
Another week went, and then there was almost a month, and there is no small baby. That was almost like a 73% reduction for our trend, not for a few years, for the previous 20 years. So that is a significant fluctuation.
Why? Well, that's the big question that still needs a lot of study. Perhaps doctors wonder if a marked reduction in air pollution is part of the answer. Or maybe the pandemic actually reduced some stresses.
Pregnant women may have experienced less stress from work and less stress maybe from commuting, more family support at home. Also, they may have avoided not only the coronavirus, but other kind of infection, other kind of viral infections.
Lockdown offered us an unbelievable nature's experiment where so many variables were almost imposed on the society.
A unique opportunity to study the causes of premature births and perhaps in the future help bring more tiny babies to full term. Carolyn Dunn, CBC News, Calgary.
They've been a boost for small business owners in Canada, federal loans to help keep them afloat during the pandemic. But 4 months on, some business owners say they're still falling through the cracks. Aaron Saltzman has the details.
And then hold and breathe.
Her studio shuttered by the pandemic, Ninka Young is eking out a living holding online yoga classes.
I'm making less than 10% of what I normally make.
She's collecting CERB, has deferred her home mortgage payments, and was hoping to tap into the Canada Emergency Business Account. CBA offers interest-free loans of up to $40,000. Businesses only have to repay 3/4 of that if paid back by the end of 2022. By most accounts, the program has been a big success. Nearly 700,000 applicants have received more than $27 billion. The money came quickly, was easily accessible through the banks, and didn't pile on interest-bearing debt that would mean a bigger bill later.
The CBA program has been a real lifeline to hundreds of thousands of small and medium-sized firms that really had nowhere else to turn at the start of the emergency.
But CBA also has its flaws.
As a business decision, it doesn't make sense not to take free $10,000.
This accountant says there's no requirement for a business to prove it's been hurt by the pandemic in order to apply. And she says she knows of some that didn't need the loan but took the money anyway.
They'll just keep it, collect interest on it. Some have chosen to play the stock market with it. Because there's no checks and balance in place right now, it's really a wild west out there what you do with this money.
Meanwhile, some others who do need the money say they can't get it. Ninka Young's yoga business didn't meet the minimum payroll requirement. And even though the government rejigged that prerequisite last month, she says she still doesn't meet the new criteria, which are based on non-deferrable expenses.
I just feel like there's no help for the smaller businesses that are really struggling. It's a little bit scary, and of course, I don't want to have to lose my home.
But her business falling through the cracks of government support, her home mortgage deferral set to end in a little over a month, she's now contacted a real estate agent. Aaron Saltzman, CBC News, Toronto.
The pandemic has thrown a wrench into holiday travel this summer. Borders closed, flights canceled, and many of us are looking for ways to vacation closer to home. And as Briar Stewart explains, that's meant the sale of boats and RVs is going full throttle.
This family-owned company has been making boats for more than 40 years, and these days, business is booming.
I would say it's at least tripled from last year, and even our sales have tripled in the used market. I'll show you the motor.
Business started ramping up in May with many first-time buyers and those like Don Sadler looking to buy a second boat.
It's just a total release. Once you get past the dock and you get out on the water, it's like all your troubles just melt away.
ND says having a boat allows him to travel to his cabin while avoiding the ferries, which are frequently booked up during the summer. All across Canada, boat dealers are reporting a bump in buyers.
So over here we have pontoon boats. These boats are probably one of the most popular boats right now.
Chris Pereira runs a website that lists new and used boats for sale across the country.
Sales are at a record high. The big thing right now is dealers having enough inventory for the rest of the summer.
Pereira attributes the demand to a change in people's holiday plans and a desire to find something fun to do that fits with physical distancing. The RV industry thinks that's also behind the surge it's seeing.
There's all different floor plans that you can get.
The association representing RV dealers says sales are up significantly. Members report seeing increases between 40 and 100%.
People aren't going to movies as much. They're not going out to eat as much. Getting out and getting out of town and going to, into a campsite where you can go for a nice hike.
Some customers had been thinking about buying an RV for a while, but the pandemic and all the international travel restrictions meant the timing really made sense for them.
Yeah, it's safer because we're just together, so we're not around thousands of people at a motel.
Instead, more people are looking to head out on their own and with their families, whether that means a trip down the highway or on the water. Briar Stewart, CBC News, Vancouver.
After 2 months on the International Space Station, the SpaceX crew returns to Earth.
Splashdown.
Up next, how today's splashdown has changed the future of space travel. Plus, Hockey Night in Canada is back.
We're learning that the game is still the game, but that fans do have an impact.
What it's like to call the game during this COVID era. We'll get our own hockey play-by-play. And later, Toronto's Caribbean Carnival goes virtual.
So I've been doing this pretty much every year of my entire life as far as I remember, and 1 year was not going to pass where I didn't celebrate.
How the community is keeping this celebration alive. We'll be right back.
Splashdown.
Well, that was a crucial moment this afternoon when the future of space flight changed course. The safe splashdown of 2 astronauts using privately owned equipment means a lot more is now possible. The Dragon capsule belongs to Elon Musk's company SpaceX, just one of the private sector players aiming for the moon and beyond. Simon Nakaneshny shows us how it all played out and why it will go down in history.
Liftoff of the Falcon 9 and Crew Dragon. Go NASA, go SpaceX, Godspeed, Bob and Doug.
It was the first time in almost a decade America launched its own astronauts into orbit, and the first time that a private company, SpaceX, accomplished the feat. NASA astronauts Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley went up for a 2-month stay on the International Space Station. Now, could they make it back down?
This is a prototype mission. This is a test flight. So it's one thing to go to space, but the actual end of the test is when the crew is back on Earth, safe and sound.
It is dipping in and out a little bit.
Today, David Saint-Jacques watched his colleagues, also friends, plummet from the sky at hundreds of kilometers an hour. The friction of re-entry generated heat on the capsule of nearly 2,000 degrees Celsius. Then the parachutes came out, and the Dragon ship Endeavour splashed safely into the Gulf of Mexico.
Splashdown.
Anybody who's touched Endeavour, you should take a moment to just cherish this day, especially given all the things that have happened this year.
At this space museum near Montreal, the mission sparked excitement and some big dreams.
It sounds very exciting, so hopefully in the next years and maybe decades, we'll be able to go as tourists in space.
Well, it's been my dream for a very long time.
In 20 years, he can pay for his trip to the space.
They can celebrate with each other.
This mission was the final test flight for SpaceX as it seeks NASA certification. Elon Musk's company eventually wants to send people to the moon again, even to Mars. And while just another small step for humanity's journey in space, it's a giant leap for the future of private space travel.
Welcome back to planet Earth, and thanks for flying SpaceX.
Simon Nakaneshny, CBC News, Montreal.
So what does all this mean for the future of space travel? Let's check in with Bob MacDonald, the host of CBC Radio's Quirks and Quarks. And Bob, we've grown up with the idea of government supporting space exploration, but what does SpaceX mean now for the future of flights into space?
Well, we're now seeing it being handed over to the private sector, and that is making it a lot cheaper. The cost to fly on Dragon is about $55 million per seat. Now, that's a lot of money, but that's less than half of what it costs to go up on the space shuttles in the old days. They were over $100 million. It's even cheaper than what the Russians were charging to go up. So that's it. The other is that SpaceX is doing everything themselves. Under government science, they usually have a whole bunch of different contractors in different parts of the country, and they all have to come together. SpaceX is under one roof, and they're just using NASA like a paid customer, which means that they can sell flights to other paid customers, tourists who want to go into space, anyone who wants to get up there who can afford the ticket. They become the airliner, the airline industry for space. So it's an entirely new era.
And SpaceX has another mission very soon. Tell us about that.
an even bigger spaceship. It's called Starship, and it's going to make just a short hop, go up, hover, and then come back down again. It lands on its feet, and this is the one they're planning to go to the moon, and then a larger version even go to Mars. Elon Musk wants to build a Martian colony. So both SpaceX, NASA, and Boeing, they're all looking towards the moon now to go there, to build a colony, to build a little space station around the moon, and go there and stay, not just make footprints and plant a flag. So it's an exciting new time in space exploration, Ian.
Well, as exciting and enchanting as all that sounds, so does your mode of transportation, your sailboat there. So enjoy the Gulf Islands.
Thank you, Ian.
When we come back, an unprecedented season for unprecedented times.
At playoff time, it's usually electric. The hair on the back of your neck is standing up because of fans.
How COVID-19 has changed the sights and sounds of playoff hockey. My conversation with play-by-play announcer Chris Cuthbert. But first.
Well, here's a bowl of steaming Quaker oatmeal.
Actor and pitchman Wilfred Brimley died this weekend. Best known for portraying gruff characters. He appeared in movies such as Cocoon and The Firm. Brimley had been in poor health and died in a Utah hospital at the age of 85.
Phil Myers scores right back. There's the answer. Phil Myers with a bullet.
He shoots and scores as the Stanley Cup tournament began this weekend. And there is a lot of hockey to play. 16 games in the span of 3 days. A jam-packed 24-team playoff, unlike any other Stanley Cup run we've seen before. It was a long wait to watch meaningful games, 142 days to be exact. And for the first time, it's hockey night and day in the summer.
And this is all about getting ready for the weekend. McCabe is with him in front, and he scores.
If anyone wondered whether Canadians missed hockey, well, the answer came with those first two exhibition games on Tuesday. Toronto against Montreal.
There's the horn a little bit late.
And the Battle of Alberta.
Across, club pop, big stop, rebound, scores.
Sportsnet says they were the two most watched exhibition games ever on the cable sports channel, more than 4 million viewers in all.
Gustafson shooting right off, rebound, Lindholm scores.
And calling the Western Games a familiar voice, Chris Cuthbert, who returns to Hockey Night in Canada after many years at TSN. Well, Chris, it's really nice to talk to you, and welcome back to Hockey Night in Canada.
It's great to be back. I don't have the powder blue jersey or jacket, but it's really exciting to be back on Hockey Night in Canada.
So you are calling the games from inside the rink, but you're not in the bubble. Explain that for me.
Well, we are allowed access to the rink, but not down where the players are, which is a difference for us. Usually on game day, we get a chance to talk to players after the morning skate, but there is none of that access. We are taken by a special entrance up to the broadcast level, which is at floor 5. But the advantage we have is when the game's over, we can walk out of the building, walk back to the hotel. We have access to the river valley on a great day in Edmonton, so that's one of the big differences. But access to players just isn't like it usually is.
So think back to Tuesday, that first game in this new season, I guess, an exhibition game. You walk into that rink for the first time. What were your impressions of the new NHL?
Well, there is a wow factor. I think that might surprise you that the staging of this event is pretty impressive by the NHL. They might be up for a Canadian Screen Award for some kind of staging or set design, because they've done a nice job that way. They're trying to give some atmosphere in the building. There's videos from fans. The home team gets the same kind of video presentation they might in their home rink, and so they're trying, but obviously without fans, it's just not the same. At playoff time, it's usually electric. The hair on the back of your neck is standing up because of fans, and so that is obviously the biggest difference.
Okay, I want to show some video from a Wednesday night game.
And there's a huge hit.
Nathan Beaulieu hits Zach McEwen in the game between Winnipeg and Vancouver, and I guess in a regular game, especially if it were to be played in Winnipeg, that would just turn the crowd on, and you could feed off that as the play-by-play guy. How do you respond to that in these circumstances?
Well, it is different. I mean, you would probably lay out shortly after that to hear that emotion from the fans, and often that will change the momentum in a game. I know a member of the Minnesota Wild who plays the same physical role, Marcus Foligno, said, I'm not sure if I go out and make that big hit, it's going to cause the same domino effect that it normally would with fans. Can it energize a bench the same way without fan reaction? And I think we're learning that the game is still the game, but that fans do have an impact on the game.
And let me ask you about COVID. Obviously, all of this happening under the cloud of COVID. How concerned are you and your broadcast crew? Is it something you guys are thinking about all the time?
Well, we have social distancing. When we're on the 5th floor or anywhere in the building, we wear a mask until the broadcast begins. And, you know, I think we've really got to salute the players for their adherence to protocol and for taking the necessary measures. I mean, it's phenomenal that since phase 3, when they all gathered together for their training camps, that nobody's tested positive since that point. I think that is really a testament to the players and to the league for getting it right in the protocol they set to get us here. I think the most difficult thing was to get from phase 3 and get everybody to the hubs, and now the environment is as controlled as we can have it. Clearly there's a lot of room for error yet, but so far so good.
And one last thing, and this may be the toughest question of all. Some people are worried that there's going to be an asterisk after the name of this year's Stanley Cup winner. What's your view of that?
I don't think I'm not an asterisk guy. I think this is going to be as hard to win as ever. And in fact, it might be a little harder if a team in this qualifying round ends up winning the Stanley Cup. Instead of 16 wins, it's 19 wins. And I think this might be harder than ever to win what some people feel is the hardest trophy to win anyway.
Well, sure is nice having your voice back on Hockey Night in Canada and on the playoffs. Chris, thank you very much.
Excited to be on Hockey Night in Canada and with you, Ian. Thank you.
Major League Baseball continues to struggle with its shortened season. More positive COVID tests inside the St. Louis Cardinals organization have forced the postponement of the league's 19th game in just 11 days. At least 2 more players have also chosen to opt out of the remainder of this season, citing uncertainties surrounding the game. The league's commissioner, however, says he's confident his sport can still complete the season despite the setbacks brought on by the virus. Social justice has also dominated the conversation in pro sports. Although the NHL has moved to take action, it's also received a lot of criticism for not doing enough. Last night, the message was clear.
Hockey is a great game, but it could be a whole lot greater, and it starts with all of us.
What's been widely described as a powerful message condemning racism from Canadian Matt Dumba, who plays for Minnesota. He delivered it just moments before he became the first NHL player to kneel during a national anthem, something we've seen in some other men's and women's professional leagues. Dumba is just one of a handful of visible minorities currently in the league. It's something many say needs to change if the NHL wants to stamp out racism in the league. Also critical, finding a way to make Canada's game more welcoming and accessible for those new to Canada. But for newcomers, there isn't always a clear path to learning to play the game. In a story we first brought you late last year, Katie Nicholson shows us how some people are working to change that.
The path to becoming Canadian can be a little slippery. But these kids are getting a helping hand. And a crash course on how to play Canada's game. All in the name of helping new Canadians develop a better sense of belonging. That's perfect. Moazine Hisham started Hockey for Youth 4 years ago.
My parents came to Canada in 1972 from Uganda, and I was born in Vancouver. I was given my first set of hockey equipment by our neighbor who still lives across the street from my mom. And they said, you should put your youngest son into hockey, and my parents obliged, and it gave me an opportunity to feel socially included. We're also going to do some turning today.
He's now extending that opportunity to hundreds of other kids from 30 countries who also just want to belong.
What you want to do is make sure you put more of an emphasis on your rotating your ankle. So if you
Keelan Farron volunteers with Hockey for Youth.
I grew up kind of part Indian and part Scottish. There you go, and then you cross over just like that. Yeah.
But it's hockey that has played a key part in Farron's Canadian identity.
Definitely, I think of like winter days where you kind of go on the pond in the backyard. You're kind of just always outside in the snow and skating. I think hockey is just something that I see myself as when I say, I'm Keelan, I'm a hockey player. Are you excited?
Farron and the rest of the Ryerson Rams women's hockey team provide a steady hand to guide the kids.
Yeah, I did the whole thing without falling. The whole thing. Hockey belongs to everyone. It's not just people who can know how to play the sport, but people who want to watch a sport, who maybe want to get involved in the sport. I think it just extends further than just playing the game and just growing to love the game.
You're ready.
And it appears to be working. Gaurav Akram is from India, where field hockey is big, ice hockey, not so much.
Skating on ice was.
But he's learning.
In future also a chance to play hockey, like join it.
You want them tighter? Just let me know. Cool?
And that's exactly what Moazine Hisham wants to hear.
It's pretty emotional in a positive way. I think about the kids who, some of the things that they've gone through. But every time they're out on the ice, you get to see those smiles. When they fall for the first time, it's amazing to see them get back up. And that's what we talk about all the time is when you fall, you get back up and you try again. Hey, buddy.
And for Hisham, this program is deeply personal.
For me, I always tell my mom and my dad that it's kind of a full circle experience in terms of they put me into hockey and now I'm using the game to give back.
There you go.
And as the program expands into a third city, it's a gift that keeps on giving, the gift of hockey and belonging.
Okay, so all the way, follow me, let's go.
Let's go, hurry up. Go.
Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Toronto.
You should see me skate. It is not pretty. Still ahead, the celebrations may look different this year, but the message remains the same.
It's about emancipation. It's about freedom. And that's what we're fighting for today, ironically enough.
How Toronto's Caribbean Carnival is coming together during the pandemic. We'll be right back. For more than half a century, Toronto's August-long weekend was a kaleidoscope of costumes and culture. But this year, the pandemic has disrupted the city's Caribbean Carnival. That meant no vibrant multi-day festival with parties, concerts, and a grand parade. And while the spectacle may be gone, there's no snuffing out the spirit of celebration. As Tashana Reed explains, people just found ways to give the festivities a new form.
The deep, rich sounds of the six bass. It's the instrument of choice for bandleader Wendy Jones for the past 30 years.
When I'm behind my bass, I'm in a different world. I'm in a different world because I'm enjoying the music. The music's got me. This is Be Here, but this is the first band. It's called
Steel Pan Orchestra has been an integral part of her life. Her steel band, Pan Fantasy, should be busy performing at Toronto's Caribbean Carnival this weekend. But like many other major events, COVID-19 has been a disruptor.
The band is not just here to play, it's a family. And because we're a family, it brings us all together. We bring love, we bring friendship, we bring food, we bring culture.
In April, the COVID-19 pandemic forced organizers to cancel Toronto's Caribbean Carnival. The multi-day festival attracts more than 1 million people to the city and brings in $400 million to Canada's GDP. A huge achievement since its early days. In 1967, masqueraders and steel pan musicians danced and played their way through Toronto's city centre for the very first time. Then it was called Caribana, and the idea of a group of Caribbean community leaders who modeled the celebration after Trinidad's Carnival, a celebration to honor the Emancipation Day for people of African descent.
And part of our heritage is that understanding that we came from a group of people who had been enslaved, and we have to continue in their memory. So
Denise Herrera-Jackson is head of government relations for the festival. Part of her job is to keep the celebrations on course. But with no grand parade, no king and queen competition, live concerts, or parties, it's a seemingly impossible task.
How do you visualize something as loud and colorful and, I want to say noisy, yes, but full of life? How do you move from that?
We gon' make them free up.
Festival organizers opted to shift online. Leading up to the big weekend, they streamed workout soca-sized classes.
Classic Caribbean recipe.
And live cooking demos while highlighting local businesses and artists, all culminating with a virtual Carnival road. But for husband and wife team Candace and Dwayne Dixon, the virtual road can't replace what has been lost. They've been planning, organizing, and designing for the last 2 years. Even testing out samples of their costume line, Sugarcane, at last summer's parade.
So that's really what this theme was about, was diving in and paying homage to different parts of our culture.
Carnival 2020 was going to be their official debut.
The community's lost right now. I'm lost as a designer. I'm lost as a producer.
This weekend, their headquarters, called a mass camp, would have been a flurry of volunteers and masqueraders. Instead, it's empty.
I know that there's a lot of people that are in this industry, whether they be DJs or party promoters or designers, you know, the steel pan players. We're all kind of really feeling it right now.
There's also the recent protest movements for Black Lives Matter and the conversation around systemic racism that has been front and center. The Dixons say this year is a strong reminder of why they celebrate.
The reason why we play Mass to begin with, you know, it's about celebration, it's about liberation, it's about emancipation, it's about freedom. And that's what we're fighting for today, ironically enough.
And many would-be festival goers still found ways to honor the tradition of Carnival this weekend. Like die-hard masquerader Carol DePisa.
If I didn't do this, I don't know what I would have done today. This is better than nothing. So I was happy to do this for some of my friends.
DePisa and a small group of close friends joined 100,000 people who logged on to this year's virtual road. Soca DJs from around the world brought the music.
Shout out to everybody on the Zoom.
And Carnival masqueraders brought the dance moves.
Toronto, Carnival.
While celebrations look a lot different in 2020, the vibes and the pride remain the same.
I've been doing this pretty much every year of my entire life as far as I remember. And 1 year was not going to pass where I didn't celebrate.
You know, I think it's great that, you know, we can all come together and, you know, still celebrate in the midst of everything that's going on.
For DePisa, this year is all about appreciation.
I feel like I'm on a lake shore. I think it makes people more humble and to appreciate what you had before.
And the hope that next year, Toronto Carnival will return in its full splendor. Tashana Reid, CBC News, Toronto.
After the break, a different kind of COVID how-to guide with your kids in mind.
It goes left ear, right ear, straighten it out. If you got your mask on, kids, give me a shout. Or maybe right ear, left ear.
How one Nova Scotia family is teaching others to mask up. Next, in our moment. How do you keep kids entertained during a pandemic? Well, there's one dad from Nova Scotia who's been making music videos with his daughters. Their latest, as you just saw, is about wearing masks. Ivy is 3, Isla is 6. They love to perform. People love their videos, and that is tonight's moment.
We just wanted to create a fun, goofy, instructional video for children and for adults alike who may not have a lot of experience yet trying on and wearing face masks.
It goes left ear, right ear, straighten it out. If you got your mask on, kids, give me a shout. Or maybe right ear, left ear, however you do it. Get a grown-up to help, you know there ain't nothing to it.
There's actually been a lot of parents who have reached out on social media to let me know that their younger children who initially were a little apprehensive about trying on or wearing face masks have actually given it a shot after seeing the video. So thanks to these two, there's a lot more kids wearing their face masks or at least trying them out here in Nova Scotia.
I liked dancing.
What about you? What was your favorite part? Dancing? You like dancing? Did you like singing too? You guys were very good singers.
And the two girls would like to do a shout out to Dr. Robert Strang, who's the medical health officer in Nova Scotia. You know, we hear a lot about Bonnie Henry, who has that job here in BC, as we should. She's fantastic. But so too are her many colleagues across the country, including Dr. Strang, who told our colleagues in Halifax that he approves of the girls' message. That is The National for August the 2nd. Good night.